Approval of minutes. When committee members have had a chance to review, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. New business. Item number 1 is approval of a minor public works contract with Tusco for replacement of actuator arms at the Tuscaloosa National Airport. Tim, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So yes, this is to replace the gate operator and operator arms, or one of the gates at Tuscaloosa Airport. This is located by Bama-Dixie. This will upgrade that gate operator to a commercial grade operator, provide better security and more reliability.
How old is this gate? Is this normal
So
to replace it at this time frame or whatever?
as far as
Years.
the age, I'm not entirely sure. The previous tenant did not utilize this gate very much. It was a residential type operator, and since Bama-Dixie has moved in, the gate gets utilized a lot more. And we've had several instances where the gate has failed to operate and failed to be secure. So we want to go ahead and address that and avoid any security concerns.
And this, like, hold on.
Where's the money coming from?
Yeah, I was about to say, this money
It
comes
is
from.
funded by facility renewal.
Other questions?
Motion.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 1 is approved. Item number 2 is approval of a minor public works contract with Straight Line Fence for fence repairs at Fire Station number 9. The total is $1,660. Tim?
This is also funded by facility renewal, and it repairs sections of fencing, chain link fencing, as well as damaged fence posts and rusted fence posts on the property.
Questions?
Motion.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 3 is approval of minor public works contract with Jackson Security for as-needed repair and installation services. The total is not to exceed $20,000. Eric?
Thank you, Counselor.
Well-
So this is, as you said, not to exceed contract with Jackson Security or some of the security issues we run to around City Hall, some of the card swipes and things of that nature that need to get upgraded or replaced.
Questions?
And this will only be through September to
Through
line
this
up our
budget?
fiscal year, correct?
Questions?
Wait, I didn't understand.
This
What
is
will only be through September?
This contract.
This
Into
contract.
this budget we're in right now. This is only for the rest of this year.
Okay, is this coming out of the money we approved for facility renewal?
So this is outside services.
Okay.
This is what we do the majority.
Still
of
in
the-
your budget?
Correct.
So moved.
Second.
Moved second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 3 is approved. Item number 4, approval for a professional services contract with TTL for engineering study and consult services for site evaluation at the Mercedes-Benz Amphitheater. The total is $44,280. You are not Brian Gurney.
I am
right?
not Brian Gerder.
That's good. Eric?
So this is to look into some of the things that K-Day and Arts and Entertainment have proposed as far as the upgrades to the amphitheater. As you know,
That's good.
there's some challenges out there when it was built the first time. We're just looking to make sure that we get a good cost estimate as we move forward with this project.
Jason, what are y'all evaluating for?
It's pretty diverse, just like Eric mentioned, the site geotechnically, just from a foundation standpoint. We're not proposing to re-drill anything because when we drilled this in probably '07, there was an initial feasibility study in '06 that led to '07 design that ultimately the amphitheater was developed. So we know what's underground there, and it's all over the place, but it's still.
It was a lake, right?
It was a lake, and then it was a municipal landfill.
A
It
landfill.
was a lake. It was a recreational
Yeah.
municipal lake.
So there's a geotechnical
That's what I
aspect,
thought.
which then leads to the structural.
I thought.
What was that, Jason? I couldn't hear.
Come on up here. We'll give you a microphone. No charge.
I voted for small Star Wars play.
Did you?
Kit was here when Star Wars played.
Wow. Was it a man?
So it kind of starts at the bottom, obviously, with the subgrade and works up. And the architect has worked with K&M, I think, to come up with some concept ideas. But if you were just on a normal site, you'd probably go straight to a professional services contract with an architect to go ahead and quantify the issues and identify where certain improvements are being put, to look at the subgrade, and then have a structural engineer, subconsultant evaluating that, with the architect on board. There's just lots of little pieces that add up to this $44,000 amount to put that together to then say, okay, here's anticipated issues and cost to get you to that beginning point, and then you go vertical. And it's nothing that you would not expect on this site. I mean, if you were ever to do a bathroom addition, you would have to just about look at this. So it's relatively routine for this site, but that site's just challenging.
You're making sure nothing's changed too, right? Just looking.
Yeah, and seeing what, again, these costs are
Yeah.
with the magnitude before, we put in like if it was 2,300 piles to support the infrastructure of the amphitheater, this will be a smaller project. So evaluating the mobilization for what's still complex, but in a smaller area, evaluating the cost on that and helping budget with the architect.
Eric, Jason, what would be your timeline for this?
We're ready to go, honestly, there's probably 4 sub-consultants on this that we're just coordinating to bring together everybody, and everybody's kind of waiting. As soon as we get the contract approved, we got the group email ready to have a kickoff meeting and be rolling a final delivery, depending on what we find. I mean, it's a 60-day, 90-day max, probably kind of turnaround.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Eric, where's the 44,000 coming from?
So that's coming out of the amphitheater budget.
The amphitheater. Okay, this is out of your, which part of your budget?
The River District Fund?
The River District Fund?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So moved.
Moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 4 is approved. Item number 5 is approval of a professional consult and related services contract with C.H. Johnson Consulting for the feasibility study and business plan for the Mercedes-Benz Amphitheater 10-year plan. The total is to not exceed $57,500. Welcome, Kay.
Thank you, thank you. Good afternoon, council.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
So we are requesting authorization to enter into a professional consulting and related services contract with C.H. Johnson Consulting for a feasibility study and business plan for the Mercedes-Benz Amphitheater 10-year plan not to exceed $57,500. This is funded out of the River District Fund. Basically, this just assures that we're headed in the right direction. Johnson Consult will assist us in determining the market demand and feasibility recommendations, technical assessment, operational and financial analysis, demand and financial projection and preliminary cost estimate, and the strategic plan. So,
Kay,
Yes, sir.
when you are doing something like this, I know we're looking for the future, of course. It's obvious with a 10-year plan, but do you throw ideas out at these folks and say, these are the things we're talking about, if it's an expansion, if it's things that we think would really work well with this, or is this something they come back and,
it's
is there
very
ideas
much-
coming from them, or I'm assuming they're interviewing you and you're talking about what we think would work
yes,
right
sir.
there,
It's
right?
very much a collaborative effort.
Okay.
They talk to us and they'll be doing some focus groups even, but, here's what we know what we want to do. Here's what we know we can. Know that the Saban Center's coming, how we
Yeah.
think we can take advantage of that. It's just making sure we're taking full advantage because they've got extensive knowledge with other arenas around the country.
I think it's real wise to do things like this when you know there's a lot of demand
Yes.
for people want to participate at the amphitheater. Businesses have wanted to do that, and people have with potential more sponsorships. But
Yes, sir.
also, there's a lot of people want boxes.
Yes.
And different
Boxes,
things. I
and
think
we'll
that's-
be able to rent out that space.
Absolutely.
And hopefully use it 12 months out of
I
the
think
year.
that's wise.
Yeah.
Mr. Busby.
Well, I'm reluctant to reveal my senility. Where are we in that 10-year plan?
You're year one.
It hadn't started yet.
That's what I thought. That's what I
We'll be
thought.
here till
You
April
get
at
the
least.
first recommendation on April 30th. But we do believe we want to start planning for the future. We have a long waiting list for boxes.
Yeah, we talked about
We also recognize that there are uses beyond the 12 to 15 concert days a year that we can utilize that amphitheater in other ways. What we're going to be particularly interested in is how do you monetize that? What are going to be the impacts to annual operational costs? How do you marry that into any future debt service that would be used to pay off any future expansion? So this gives us that third-party analysis that as we move forward, we will know, how we want to plan phase 2, in phase 3. Ms. Day reminds me it should be a 2-year plan, not a 10-year plan. And so maybe if it comes back, maybe it will be, but
Yes.
we have been very fortunate and successful at the Mercedes-Benz Amphitheater. But it's because we've been methodical, we've been strategic, we don't go off, what we feel, we go off of what we know. And this gives us that type of information. I will say this too, we're very cognizant that Huntsville has just built a state-of-the-art amphitheater, the Orion, up in Huntsville. Birmingham, I was talking to Mayor Woodfin yesterday, they're moving forward with their amphitheater in downtown. You can't stay static. You have to keep your facility relevant, modern, and no one will ever beat us in customer service. But we will always want to make certain that our facility is modernized so we can continue to compete and have sold out shows like we did Thursday night.
So the 10-year plan is coming to us in the capital budget proposal next week.
You've actually been provided a copy of the 10-year plan several.
I know we have seen it, looked at it, talked about it, but in terms of approval, where is it?
It hasn't been approved, but we're going to move forward with the phase 1. The future phases of the 10-year plan would each have to be approved individually. And so the study may come back, and what was presented in the 10-year plan, and I'm going off the top of my head, Mr. Busby, it may have said we needed 40 boxes, but this study may say we need 35 boxes. So each phase is going to be validated by a third-party consultant, because that was a conceptual idea of what the next 10 years. Now we're moving piece by piece by piece, and each piece has its own validation and study. So that's where we are.
Okay, so this 57 is to pay a consultant to assess the feasibility of hopefully make how financially feasible it is.
Yes, sir.
And that's coming out of the Central River District.
The River District, yes.
And then that C.H. Johnson consultant is familiar. Was that the event center? Is that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's familiarity with it. Now that the event center is on pause, and frankly, I just don't see that moving forward in the brave new world we're in. It actually opens up some opportunity, because we do know that meeting space still is a need in our community. So we want to take a look at maybe the amphitheater is the better site for that. Because you've already got the infrastructure in place, you already have all the things, the ingredients necessary, not at an event center level, but certainly 10, 15,000 more square feet. But that's what they're going to look at, because they do a really good job, in my opinion, of being honest. And in fact, the data that they showed us really convinced us to put the event center on hold. I mean, and that's what you want out of a consultant who tells you the truth, instead of telling you to go down a road that is not financially feasible.
Do they put preliminary cost estimates based on kind of construction numbers too, when they bring this to us? Will they do that?
I don't know if they'll put construction costs, that may be something for Kay, but
It does say the cost estimate, preliminary cost estimate.
Of
They'll be
what?
working with the architect, yes, but they've already been in touch with them.
and as we talked about earlier, that site is challenging. The reason why the city back in 2007, 2008 decided to take that site and use it for the amphitheater was the private sector was not and could not touch that site because there was no way towards profitability. And so to remediate the site at the time to build the existing amphitheater required us to invest about $3 million worth of piling and other type of systems to mitigate and get around the issues at that site. But it's a 15-acre site, and there's not many 15-acre sites available on our riverfront for $3 million, even then. So it was a really good investment. There were also additional pilings put in at the time of the amphitheater when it was originally built. I thought that was a very good decision by the council. So all of this, once we get this, we'll need to go run back through TTL, because this is not your normal site. So it will have some other limitations that other sites may not have, which is important So when we get the cost estimates back on the construction side from this group, I can almost assure you, we will recommend to the council, we go back and have our own engineering firm take a look at, just because they will have the most up-to-date data. They can do the geotechnical, and they can then support or reject the conclusions of this consultant. Because they're not going to be familiar with those types of things that we have on that site. Just because it's, hey, again, we knew back in 2007, 2008, it was a difficult site, but again, there's not many, the costs are minuscule compared to 15 acres on your riverfront, which is currently, Brendan, you and I have talked about it, how much redevelopment have we had around that amphitheater? 100 plus, $200 million. It's been a really good decision for the community.
I came down River Road coming downtown the other, and I got to the intersection there at the foot of the hill, and I was lost. I didn't recognize it. It's changed so much, you know, and especially since we had finally got the road fixed. But
It took me a long time. I finally wore out my shovel.
and I appreciate you doing that. But it looks great.
And I believe in that person standing at that podium. She is doing a fantastic job, knows how to run that venue, is making things happen, and I'm glad she's going to be advising all of us as we move forward.
Good. Question?
Thank you.
Kay, I want to commend you and staff and Matt and everybody that we were down there Thursday night, and the weather was not really cooperative for the beginning, but by the time Riley Green was there, it was great. I mean, to me, it didn't, but it just, the way it's run, the way everything kind of is handled is just, it's a great experience.
Thank you.
And I think the more that we can get the amphitheater in the mode to have more concerts and more events, whatever that is, I think that's good for the city.
Yes.
So I appreciate the job you're doing. It's good.
Thank you.
So, any other questions? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved.
Second.
Second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 5 is approved. Thanks, Kay. Item
Thank you,
number
Kay.
6 is approval to enter into professional services contract with Vision Security Technologies. The total is $33,091.92. Jason, welcome.
Thank you. This is a annual renewal of the software that PD Cyber Intelligence uses for analysis and investigation of the city's camera systems and network. This is budgeted from IT's maintenance, and this is IT's maintenance budget.
Did you
And
say
this
it's
is
1-year contract, guys?
Yes, sir. This is an expected annual cost.
How do y'all work the split between you and TPD on IT stuff for police operations?
That-
Say again? He pays for it all?
That,
not a good deal, man.
Yeah, that's probably just a historical wherever things landed whenever they were first placed. This one just happens to fall with us.
So mentally, when we're evaluating TPD's budget, we should make the mental adjustment that plus this and this and this?
We hold a large number of other departments' central costs like this.
So
if
that's
they're
a
particular
common
IT.
arrangement
Yes, sir.
between other, okay. All right. Motion.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 6 is approved. Item number 7 is approval of a permit amendment for dockside on Lake Tuscaloosa. Mark and Kimberly, welcome.
Good afternoon, Council.
Good
Good afternoon.
This is a permit amendment for dockside on Lake Tuscaloosa. This was the plans that were submitted and approved on November 22nd. And then this is what was, how progress is coming along now. So these were some approved transient slips for a proposed restaurant. And then this is what has been built now. You can see that they've actually reduced the amount of slips that they were permitted.
Mm-hmm.
However, the slips that they did build were between 3 and 5 foot longer than permitted. So Then they had.
Is that an issue?
On that particular dock, it's not an issue. It would have been a lot nicer if they'd have asked us ahead of time.
Gotcha.
But that's what they did.
Not in substance, just in form?
Correct. This dock here was built, you can see what was permitted and what was built. Now, we stopped construction on this. That's why it's not decked and it has some bracing. We do have an issue with this, as city code does not allow you to build over 1/3 of the slough, and that dock there takes up almost half. They need to reduce the southmost slip by 3 foot to be within city code. But that dock is 11 foot wider and 3 foot out further into the lake than was permitted. You have a question?
Do they have plans to do that?
So the initial plans did not cover for that. That's what we're here today, is they are proposing a permit amendment. Because it's a commercial facility, that has to come in front of city council. So this dock here is is another issue that we have. The dock was built as planned. The lake went through, or the city, we went through a drought. The lake level dropped and the dock was sitting on the ground. So their answer to that was they built a peninsula and attached their dock to it, pushing it out further into the lake. That's specifically addressed by city code and not allowed by city code. You can't alter or change the shape or contour of the shoreline. City staff would have recommended that they buy a pre-manufactured walkway, which would have been within code. And they decided to build a 12 by 22 peninsula, putting that material back into the lake. So, and this is kind of an overview. You can see the peninsula sticking out there. And then this is their amended plans. So this is an as-built. They're requesting to come out past the 1/3, which again is specifically not allowed in code. And then the 12 by 22 peninsula. And that's.
All right, so I do want to go back to the previous slide. All right, so this is where the dock sticks out 3 feet too far. And the way the code reads is that they can only have 1/3 of the navigable waterway. So a couple things on this. Originally, when they got to this site, it really wasn't. It was navigable essentially by maybe a jet ski, but they went in and dredged 8,000 cubic yards out of this particular area, which basically made it navigable. It's still, even if it's not navigable by boat, it's still considered a navigable waterway, and so they're not allowed to stick out 3 feet too far. So what the solution has been with them, and this is 2 pieces of property, when you're looking at the picture or the drawing, the top slips is a separate piece of property from the bottom slips, and that's where the restaurant's being built on the bottom. So you can see right now that they've pulled the distance, and so currently it's 45 feet of navigable waterway through there. The 1/3 would have made it at 27 feet. And so they have in their drawing that, if you can read that, it says 35 feet minimum. And so they plan to record this in a covenant so that if in the future, if the south piece of property is sold off, that it would always keep the navigable waterway of greater than 27 feet, which is required by code. Is the 27 feet would be what's required. However, this is still against code, but this is a solution that technically, I guess, is in the spirit of the code, which is allowing the navigable waterway to be the 1/3 like it's supposed to be, 1/3 or greater. So that was their solution to that piece, and eventually they do plan to cover this dock, and that's why they didn't want to reduce it by the 3 feet. So, because if you covered it, it would look a little odd without the 3 feet on that one last slip. So are there any questions on that piece?
Even though part of this has been modified, I mean, it doesn't meet code, is it y'all's opinion that this is a positive impact to the lake, or because the dredging part of it to me was a big deal, and I know it looks like to me, when the meetings we've had about this, the altering of the shoreline is not really a detriment to the lake. I mean, so how do y'all, I mean, when you look at this, explain what you think about the impact of this on
Well, so on this
the lake.
piece, I don't feel like it's as much of an issue. Again, it's against code, but I don't feel like this piece is much of an issue because they have protected the navigable waterway distance. So if you're talking about the peninsula piece, which is on this, I will say that from my perspective, that it is they have left the lake in better shape than they found it. We typically work with developers and engineers on the front end of plans so that we don't get in this situation, so we're not having to ask for forgiveness. And so we have had developments, recent developments, commercial developments that have tried to alter the shoreline, and we held them to the code. But it's because we were working with them on the front end of it instead of on the back end of it. And we've been able to come up with solutions with them. And so typically when we bring plans to y'all, it's because we've come up with a solution that we're all agreeable to. And so this one is a little bit different than what we normally would bring to y'all. But as far as the integrity of the lake, the shoreline and those things, it is better now than it was when they got there. Is that what you're asking me?
Yes, which is very important. And then with some of the issues that have happened in this, I mean, the spirit of cooperation too has been pretty good too, hasn't it?
I mean,
Working with us to, because I know there were a few things that,
Post-development, yes.
well, there were a few things that were modified though, weren't there? So
Yes.
there were a few changes made.
Yeah, and we issued a stop work order until we could get plans that were representative of what was out there. And so we do have plans that represent what is out there now. It's just, I guess, the process by which it happened was a little not conventional. But I do feel like that this is where they're wanting to land.
Committee member questions?
I'm not sure I follow this whole thing. So the committee is being asked to approve an amendment to the permitting statute?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And would that be for just this one
Just for this-
incident?
Yes, it'll just be for this one,
Yeah.
project.
Mr. Busby, I think you're just approving the application, not the code itself.
We're not changing the code.
You asked about the permitting
Yeah.
It
statute.
says permit, so we're just amending their permit requesting approval to do it, is that right?
Correct.
Yes.
Or requesting approval to keep it.
They've already done.
And the staff recommendation is?
The staff recommendation is
I'm
that it
actually,
doesn't-
is
it
there
doesn't
a
meet code.
time urgency here?
Yes, I mean, they've already, yes, they're trying to get this open. So,
What's getting open? Marina, restaurant?
Well, the restaurant is, I guess they're moving toward that, but the whole area, I mean,
there are things that they haven't been allowed to finish because we have a stop work order on
there's a
it.
stop work
Okay.
order on it right
Yes.
now, that's right. Restaurant's part of it.
So the recommendation from staff is that, we recommend based on code. This does not meet code. But as we're standing up here, you ask us if it's a betterment to the lake. It is a betterment to the lake.
We would have had ulterior methods had they come to us beforehand that would have met or exceeded what they have now.
Okay, and I ask because my concern is not this.
Okay.
It is the precedence of this, and so the next guy does what they,
Yes, sir.
that's my concern.
Yes, sir.
Fair.
If we could have a week, is the timer, whose is this?
They're here.
Yeah, Doc's.
Is that you?
Somebody come up here.
Okay, Jan, I'm just trying to,
My name's Lee Henderson, by the way. I'm a partner in this development. Just kidding. My name's Wilson Moore. I'm one member of the project known as Dockside here, and I'm happy to answer any questions, and we have some
what's
pictures.
the larger project?
The larger project is a you might call it a mixed-use development. We are in the process of building a restaurant there. We go before annexation next month to annex the portion of the property where it mentioned back before with the 3 feet issue on the south side of that. That is where the restaurant is going. That's what's being proposed to be annexed. So we have wet slips out here, and as far as this peninsula, that just involves wet slips that we rent out.
So you're gonna ask to be annexed next month? Is that what you said?
Yes, I mean, the annexation doesn't have anything to do with our situation here.
Right.
And when are you trying to get a restaurant open?
1st of June. And as far as we understand the precedents, and we apologize, and I want to say that these guys have been fantastic to work with. We broke a few eggs trying to build a large omelet out here, and we altered the shoreline in multiple areas already. Besides this, it just is what it is. I will say this is just our opinion. The code doesn't exactly work perfectly for a development of this scale. You know, taking 8,000 cubic yards out of the lake. Another way of saying we added 1.5 million gallons of water volume back to the lake. If you say, you know, your average large dump truck maybe holds 20 to 25 yards, you can get a feel for how much dirt we took out. There was a peninsula 30 feet to the left of this that was, maybe it was added, maybe it silted in, but we took that peninsula out. So we you know, kind of just speaking physically, we've already altered it. And the reason we put that peninsula there, and we are sorry that we didn't do it the right way, that was a decision at the time for us of having a 37-foot walkway plank out to a dock that looks like it's in the middle of the water, in the middle of the lake, just did not look as well as putting this stone peninsula in. It's not dirt, it's stone, and keeping the walkway the length that it was. And then it also, I mean, we all know the problem with wake boats on the lake. We put a lot of money in trying to stabilize the shoreline there, but it's not perfect. This also helps knock down some of those big waves that come into the development there or to the cove and can knock boats around pretty bad when you see waves this big coming across there.
That should help with a lot of the erosion that happens with that.
We feel like it will. We've added extra loads of riprap because of the amount of erosion, and just those waves hammer something like this pretty hard.
Kimberly, has this code been modified since the lake was opened in the 1970s
Oh, I don't
for
think
this?
I don't believe this code came into effect until '95.
Until 95?
I do want to clarify something, Counselor Busby. So the stop work order that we have is not related to the restaurant. So this is separate from the restaurant. So we're not holding up that piece with this. I just want to
Okay,
clarify that. I
and
wasn't sure if that was clear.
thank you. I was asking, I apologize, I was out last week. I'm a little caught off guard by this. And if it doesn't disrupt your opening operation, I'd like a week to just get deeper into it. Where are you, Wilson? If we took this for a week, what's the impact on you?
Well, let me answer it this way. Could we possibly look at this as, you know, we've got Part A and Part B here. Part A with the 3 feet on that slip right there, and us hoping that we could work out, and I think you guys we worked together on this with a covenant that would maintain more than a third open. That part, if we can move forward on that, that would help us not run into any troubles with getting the restaurant finished and open.
And what's Part B?
Part B would be the peninsula. And
Okay.
I mean, it's there now, so I don't think it's not going anywhere if you need time on that. If we could look at it that way, and that would help, if that's what your real issue is.
I want to get a chance, your district, I want to talk with you and get.
We can talk about it.
So how would we, you had something?
Yeah, I was going to ask the question, what's the anticipated open date for your restaurant?
June 1st?
June.
So I'm willing to do what I think he proposed, which is move forward with an amendment on Part A, which is the extra 3 feet, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And then table for 1 week the remainder of it.
That's fine.
That
That's what
allow
we'll do.
y'all breathing space?
I mean, it doesn't hold us up. I'd love to know,
That's what I want to
and if
know.
we can talk afterwards or help
We
us
can,
now,
we can.
what information can we help you with? And I'm
Okay.
happy to do that.
I,
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, so is that part held up, so you can't cover it yet until that part's approved?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that piece right there, the 3 feet piece that we're talking about, 3 foot piece we're talking about, that's the part that they're wanting to cover, and they can't cover it yet until we let them start that work. So that's the holdup on that piece.
With that stop work order, that pretty well only affects this dock right here on the screen.
If I may, I'm not on this committee, but,
Okay.
and this is not personal, but it really bothers me when people come before the council and they say they're gonna do A, and then they do B.
Mhm.
We've had that happen before, and I just hope that this is a slippery slope. And I'd hate for somebody else to think they can come and do as they please because y'all are doing this. I just, it really bothers me that this is going on.
I get it. And you make perfect sense. There's not a lot of developments this size even possible on the lake. And it's a large development. I'm not saying that we were right. I'm not even justifying, just telling you why we did it. It was a decision of, hey, what do we need to do to make this work out? Now, the 3 feet right here, we just mismeasured it. I mean, it's plain and simple. We thought that the 27 feet, we just measured it incorrectly and thought we had the correct measurement. I'll just leave it at that. And trying to solve that. We can take the 3 feet out. It just won't look good. And this way, with the solution that was offered of the 35 feet, it's actually more than so it's a solution that allows a larger navigable area than would be allowed if we just took the 3 feet out.
Kimberly,
Yes.
can you help me out on wording this? I want some time to get more comfortable with what's going on. And you said, we can talk in depth, and I want to talk with you because it's your district. What can I let move now, today, forward, without impacting, and what can I not?
I think we need to, I think we would like, even Mark and I would like for us to go ahead and at least release the 3 foot issue, so that we can.
I make a motion to release the 3 foot portion.
Second.
Can I ask just real fast? I want to make sure because a commercial PRO application that comes through this body is an ordinance that then goes and gets passed through council. But the stop work order is an administrative action by staff. I think if Lakes and Water and Sewer are comfortable with kind of hearing the direction, they can administratively remove the stop work order on this portion without any council action. And then we can agree to just table this, I guess, to next week's projects to come back.
And
on the
that
whole.
allows them to
Wilson,
go
is that-
to work.
Is that an acceptable salve for where y'all are stuck right now?
Yes, and I'm gonna ask you, you willing to help me with how we do this language to do that deed recording? I'd love
Yes.
for you to, and I appreciate it.
Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Bobbitt in my office, who's much smarter than I will on the
Okay.
property stuff, will certainly get us there.
Perfect, Then yes.
Based
Good
on
with
this
that.
discussion, y'all will lift the whole, and then we will.
So we don't have
Pass
to
this
take any
next week.
action today,
We'll just
correct?
Table it for
Then
1 week.
Pass this next week. Hopefully.
I will make a motion to table.
Second.
Second, any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are tabling item 7 for 1 week. Is there any new business to be brought before this committee? Hearing none, our next meeting is next Tuesday, April the 30th. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.